Hello and welcome to this week's program of GuySuCo Roundup. I'm your host, Curtis Seatel. We recognize partnerships built with the cane farming communities in the West Damara region at the Ifloat Estate. The circle of partnership is widened as the focus is trained to the Regional Democratic Council in Region 6. Do stay tuned.
To former employees, here's an opportunity to become a tradesman certified by the Board of Industrial Training through the GuySuCo Training Center. In partnership with the Ministry of Natural Resources, the GuySuCo Training Center at Port Morant will offer basic technical training in refrigeration, electrical installation, welding and fabrication, and motor vehicular servicing and repairs. Application forms are available at the Skeldon, Rose Hall, Enmore, and Wales Estate, as well as the GuySuCo Training Center.
Welcome back. As a key player in the economy and society, the corporation must manage the reorganization of the sugar industry, and more specifically, the corporation properly, as well as provide support for the former employees and communities which may be impacted negatively by the transition process. With this consciousness, partnerships have been formed with the public and private sector agencies to draft and implement a strategic action plan for the Sustainable and Resilient Community Program. On May 16, the Coordinating Committee for the Sustainable and Resilient Community Program met with representatives from the Regional Democratic Council of Region 6 as a part of the ongoing stakeholder engagement process for implementing the program, as well as working more collaboratively towards achieving the goals and objectives of the new GuySuCo. We bring you the highlights of this meeting.
And I'm happy today that we have the main player, GuySuCo, with us, so we could discuss and make some recommendations. Hopefully some of these recommendations coming out of the meeting today we will put in place. So let me formally welcome Ms. Thomas, and she'll do a presentation for us.
A question I'll ask, can we make your communities model communities? For example, under the Green State Development Strategy, under the green economy, can we come up with innovative and new ideas as to how we can build new skills into these communities to make them model communities? So those are some of the opportunities. So this morning, while we have challenges, we want to talk about some of the challenges, but we also want to talk about what are some of the opportunities. And what we've done, we've developed the program. We're here today to talk, we've also developed a strategic action plan. It's still in the draft stage. And so we're here to talk to you about the strategic action plan and how this could be done. How can we engage with you and your region to find a solution, and real solution. So we're hoping also that this morning will be diagnostic but also prescriptive in terms of prescribing some real solutions as to how we work together and ways of working too. We also like to, the program also what it does, a strategic action plan. It's what we're going to do. We have some suggestions, how we're going to do it, who we will work with. We've identified some partners, and we're hoping that you can add to that, you can build on that, and we can, and finally I'd like to say before I introduce the team here, is that we're also hoping the Sustainable Communities Program, when I get into it, it has three components. It has an economic resilience component. How can we build more economic resilience into your communities? And it has a social resilience component. There's, definitely this kind of disruption, people will need psychosocial support. People will need support. So we have a social resilience program and component of the program. We also have an environmental resilience component of the program. Many of these estates were managing the drainage and irrigation systems around their environment. And hence we've partnered with the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority to continue managing these drainage and irrigation systems. One of the things I liked about about the whole presentation is that, and you're right, we both have the same passion. And I have no doubt that we're going to help those persons that we're also concerned about, because we have passion, we have a plan, and we're sort of developing a way of working together to implement that plan. So while persons might be in different boxes, as in political box, GuySuCo box, small business box, we all say one big box, and that big box is called a Guyanese box. And we're trying to find solutions to a problem that the people you're talking about are my fellow citizens. And we are here today to work together to find solutions to problems and challenges that they're having. So I want to make that point and make it very clear. Even if I have to take off my GuySuCo hat to say that, I'm making it very clear. And so that's one. Two, I want to say that we have challenges, but we also have opportunities. What is important, we're developing a working relationship today where we're going to provide you with a lot of the information, you provide us with feedback, so that we're both comfortable as to how your community is evolving, how our business is being run, and how we're finding solutions.
We look at, first of all, to absorb about 50% of the workers in these communities, and then we could look at the training of the remainder. Because all these, remember, they are not prepared and in a way to deal with these small loans and small grants and so on. That could put them in a further disaster when, in terms of, if they are not prepared, they are not knowledgeable to go into small businesses. They may very well, just because they're getting the opportunity, the money, and they go into a business that will not succeed, it will fail. So we have to be careful, and we have to, as well as training, you have to advise to in what area.
You made a good point. Persons were accustomed to going to work for 20 years. They had loans, they had all kinds of responsibility, and suddenly their income has been taken away. The payment that they would have received, termination benefits, would take them so far, but this is something that can tie them over in the interim, okay? Until such time that your program can kick in, which is a good program, and they can be able to meaningfully be occupied. The Startup Business Fund is an excellent idea, and I don't know how much money you have in that fund, but together with the Ministry of Business, a lot of people can be self-employed, and that is an area that can be pushed very hard. A lot of efforts to be placed there. Excellent idea. The farmlands suggestion, another excellent idea. That should be also be vigilantly pushed. I don't know how much land and whatever you can give, but at least for things like cash crops and so, you know, we can, these database. Do you have a database of all the employees of GuySuCo, the relevant skills that they have? This database can be shared with the Private Sector Commission, the Private Sector Commission, of which I'm also a member. We have almost any business in this country on that Private Sector Commission. Together in Guyana, there are thousands of business, a lot of business. So if that database can be shared with the Private Sector Commission and shared with the Chambers of Commerce, we can go through that database. And when we need people, we can say, look, these people from GuySuCo. I'm sure ex-employees of GuySuCo would have no problem to have their names on the database. So if you need somebody, you know, they can also, you can get them on that database.
How are we going to tackle the closed dispensaries for the GuySuCo estate that is being closed? How are we going to tackle it? We have to ensure that we sustain these dispensaries so that the program can continue. That is very important. Pertaining to small businesses. Small businesses only can be fruitful if the environment is conducive to business. Many businesses within the environment that is being affected are facing closure. Many of these businesses, hundreds are being laid off. You have to ensure that there is proper strategic planning in terms of the business environment. we have to ensure that if we are doing poultry farming, we have markets to sustain poultry farming. And then the government should ensure that they put systems in place so that they can absorb these products that are being generated by these small businesses to ensure that the business is being sustained.
We have an economic resilience subcommittee, a social resilience subcommittee, and environmental resilience subcommittee. And we're hoping that you can have representatives, not just influential people, Mr. Hussein, on those committees also. So here is where we're taking your proposals now to the next level, where you're now going to look at what can we do in the short term and the economic, as it relates to building economic resilience into these communities. What can we do in the medium term and what can we do in the longer term? Organizing it now. And then the other thing that I'm hoping that we will do is this is where we're going to look at in the economic resilience market and all the rest of it. You're organizing all of those ideas that you have. We're organizing them in a way that they could be rolled out and also giving support. What we're also hoping can come out of this program, that's why we're hoping to do it in such a structured way that it can also attract funding. So if you have, so here you have, we come up with areas as to Berbice, what we're going to do in Berbice, and we're hoping that the program can attract funding. So not just government support. Let's look at other streams, and that's why we call it a Sustainable Communities and Resilient Communities Fund. Yes, the government has a responsibility, but also let's look at other opportunities. The other thing that I want, so that's how I'm hoping that we can work moving forward. The other point that I wanted to make is, Dr. Porter, I'd like to ask him to come in here to talk about some of the grants. They don't have to pay back the grants are free. They're also giving them coaching supports and working with them. So it's not just loosing them to do business. And it's not just about business, putting them into business. Mr. Rafiq made a good point about making the list of the skills available. We won't give you the names necessarily, but we'll give you the skills which are available. So you'll know you have 10 welders, you have 10 management people, you see in your region. So that kind of information we're going to make available to you also.
What I think needs to happen is that some other mechanism has to come in place. Some other funding opportunity, government, partnership with government and private partnership, or international funding agencies. And we are after all of them every day because we believe that for this to happen, to be successful, it has to have continuity and sustainability. So in terms of the grants, that's where we are. We have, as Ms. Thomas, I saw there some of the training that has taken place. And even though I heard some of the comments about the training, there is validation. For example, the group in Enmore, they were trained in sewing and cookery and catering, all right? We had an event there, I don't know how many people, but we catered for 300 food. And those were the same people that we trained. We went back to them. They came together as a group and said, can we offer our services? And I said, absolutely, because if we train you, we want to see you progress. So we give them that opportunity. That was over $300,000 that group was able to make from that intervention. And we will continue to do that. Those who train in plumbing and anything, we have the list of skill set. And if we know any other client or any other organization needing those, we're going to be sending those skill sets first. Because we want those people to have the opportunity to be able to earn revenue, to earn a living.
Where do we go from here? We hope to have these 3 subcommittees. We hope that you can have a representative on each one of them, the social resilience, economic resilience, so that we can now look at how do we put in a short term, medium, and long term some of those same activities that you've mentioned that you want to do. What we also want to do, we want to start providing counseling and so on. The Ministry of Public Health and Mental Health Unit, they're I won't want to say adamant, but they're very careful as to that any and everybody should not be providing counseling, particularly to people who are vulnerable, right? So they want to be able to, how can you help us? We've trained doctors, we've trained, let people know, those people you're talking to who call you and tell you they're frustrated and all of that, tell them that we've trained our doctors at the GuySuCo Health Centers, our nurses, and we also want to start providing counseling. Maybe we can go to the churches once a week. We can go to the mosque, we can go to their temples, we can go to once a week, we can work with the religious leaders, provide these counseling. These are things we want to talk to you about moving forward. People must not be out there and not know where to go to get help. You must not be here and thinking that nothing is being done. And then the environmental part of it too. Mr. Hussein, I got a copy of the Green State Development Strategy off of the Ministry of the Presidency website. I'm going to send you a copy. I got it off the website. What I'm also going to send you is because what we've done, we were linking these. It's not something we're doing in a little corner, but how do we link it to them to the national development programs? So the Ministry of Agriculture has an agriculture strategy. CARICOM has an agriculture policy. All of that I was able to access from the CARICOM website, Ministry of Agriculture website. If I have your email address, all that information, I'll be more than happy. We'll be more than happy to send to you. So the other thing I want to say, so the next steps in terms of how we're working, if you agree, Mr. Diaroub, with agreement from your council, even if you don't tell us now, please tell us later in terms of whether you're going to have a representative to be on our subcommittees. And so that, because that's really where we're going to get down to doing the work, right? Moving forward and implementing this program.
The estate that closed, we had to find place for those apprentices. So we went out there and we approached Nan-Pasad, we approached SEI, Jiling, Marriott, DDL, so we are finding new masters for them. So they are being, the batch that went out last year, we have already found places for them, and the batch going out this year. However, we got to start somewhere. GTCPM has always got a competitive advantage over all the technical institutions because we know the labor market way ahead. In this case now where we are training people, the retrenched workers that we are proposing to train, it was an idea from Adriana, which I take it with a team of training school and we run with it. I went to Ministry of Natural Resource and they met with us and we drafted out a plan. They are funding it. Initially it was for the 4 estates that closed, but we said we're going to boil it down to the 2 estates in Berbice, Rosal and Skelden. The program is expected to start on the 8th of June, closing date for application, and I have here the flyers and the application form this month and the 31st of May. It's a 120-hour program. Mr. Harrigan, you also aware of it with the we are training this person on Friday afternoon, 3 hours, and Saturday 7 hours, which is 10 hours every week. And they will be taking transportation and will be taken care of. They will be reimbursed their stipend. The program is certified under the Board of Industrial Training. We are targeting about 80 persons for now. 20 per group. We are looking at refrigeration and air conditioning, electrical installation, motor vehicle service and repair, and welding and fabrication.
On behalf of the coordinating committee, on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, the management staff of GuySuCo, thank you, Mr. Diaroub. First of all, I spoke with Mr. Armagon, and Mr. Armagon followed through on his promise. And I would like to say a heartfelt thank you, and we look forward to working with you.
The coordinating committee also met with the President and members of the Berbice Chambers of Commerce on May 16, and they have committed to working towards achieving the goals and objectives of the program. The reorganization process in the corporation also includes partnering with the cane farming community. In the West Damara region, the quantity of sugar production at the Eiflet estate is dependent on cane farmers' contributions. Congratulations to the team at Eiflet Estate on achieving their first crops target. The 7 weeks crop produced 7,011 tons of sugar, which was accomplished through partnerships between managers, workers, and private cane farmers, among other stakeholders.
When the farmer canes are here with trailers, we try as much as possible to lift those canes from the trailers by the gantry. When we complete that operation, we will start with a punt number with the punts. Most times we find that after 10, 11 o'clock in the day, we'll start lifting the trailer skin, and that will go up to 10, 11 o'clock in the night. As soon as we completed that, we will switch over to the punt dumper system. We had started the crop with 6 cane farmers, and to date we have over 19 of them on board with us. And I'm certain with the success that we have made with the farmers coming from Wales and Canal, by them being loaded their cane in a timely fashion, this would encourage the rest of cane farmers to come on board with us. So our goals, as we see it now, will be achievable by 2020. We just need to up our game as it relates to the proper maintenance of the factory, so that when these canes arrive, we can grind continuously without failures.
Farmers from the Canal West Bank area would have now recognized that they have a place at iFlock Estate, that they can easily transfer the canes from the West Bank area to iFlock Estate and return, in some instances, with 2 trips per day. The morale is high among those farmers, I must say, at this point in time, and basically because of the recoveries they enjoy in bringing their canes, supplying canes to the iFlock factory. We would have seen farmers' recoveries being in the greater part of the 11, using 11.8 TCTS given a ton sugar. That was not it when they were at Wales. So definitely at this time, having that, you see more and more thoughts being given and supplying canes to iFlock factory.
To accommodate farmers accessing the factory, key bridges and other infrastructure needed attention.
What we're witnessing ahead of us is the route that the cane cars them using to bring the cane to the cane gantry. This route was done entirely using the workers and staff from this estate. Would have took up the challenge to build this route, which was done approximately 7 days. During these 7 days, we have seen a transformation of this route from what had actually been impossible and would have required earlier times the use of contractors to do it. To make this a reality, we had to construct 3 heavy-duty bridges along this route, and on the right we had the 4th one. These 4 bridges were built within 7 days, starting with the workers and staff from around 7 in the morning, going to the wee hours of the night, 11, 12 o'clock in the night. You could have seen definitely the commitment and the dedication of these workers and staff making this a reality. This is exactly what would have contributed to the use of the cane gantry commencing this crop. I must say, thanks should also be extended to Mr. Ramraj, one of the many cane farmers supplying cane to the factory, but he is outstanding in terms of assisting the construction by lending his HIMAC to be part of the construction work done, both in terms of building the bridge approaches and to maneuver in terms of the lumber used to build these bridges.
Soil conditions in some areas have proven a challenge for traversing, especially during the rainy season, but there are efforts to mitigate some of these challenges.
What we witness in here is the all-weather road preparation for the cane farmers, famous pumpkin dam under construction. As you would have seen, this work progressing satisfactorily. Work ongoing with the contractor at this point in time, and is expected to be through by ready to start the second crop, that is in July coming.
It is an intensive piece of work because of the nature of the soil that we have to deal with and the rainfall.
Further infrastructure improvement is expected before the start of the second crop 2018.
It is expected that during this outcrop period, come May, June, we will be having this surface work being currently done in terms of preparation to have this surface resurfaced with better material to have a longer lasting effect.
There have been a high level of interest shown by cane farmers to cultivate sugarcane at Iflot Estate. How long have you been in partnership with GuySuCo?
Oh, it's in 89, since 1989. Started at Wales. Right now, still at Iflot here. I'm expanding right now, so I'm always invested in machine, taking up more land. It's 100% turnaround compared with the bed loader system. Yeah, obviously, TCTS has been a lot better, because you don't have that much crushing with the cane with the bed loader anymore. Clean cane too.
How's the relationship and the support been coming from the estate?
Well, it's been excellent. A lot of, with everybody from the estate, they're always willing to help or provide service for, farmers, especially. We partner on building the route for the gangster and everything, so.
I understand you had a great role to play in that.
Well, as I said, we partner, so everybody benefits. The factory is getting, that's what they want, continuous grinding. If we had to go on the road, it wouldn't have been like that, with traffic and, all that stuff. Less costly too.
We have seen also the influx of expression of interest at Iflot here. Of the 6,005.9 hectares we have in cultivation, at this point in time, approximately 3,300 would have already been given consideration for lease to farmers. However, I must say that at this time, it's not all under cane. Approximately 1,000 hectares of that 33 recently given consideration are under cane cultivation.
In addition to increasing the amount of lands to be leased to cane farmers, there is consideration of appointing a manager to work closely with the farmers.
It is expected that we'll have a resident manager for cane farming on this location, which we hadn't for the longest while. In fact, never had one, if I recall. So with that, having that resident manager come in, definitely extension service would be offer more to these farmers, and certainly their production can be boosted.
With strengthened partnerships, improved infrastructure, and the decisive leadership provided by management, Iflot is well on its way to achieving sustainability and profitability.
We feel that the goals we set ourselves for 2020, it is achievable. We are grinding most days, 24 hours without any factory downtime, and outer cane has reduced tremendously. Matter of fact, we only had outer cane only when it's due to weather. Other than that, we are continuously crushing for 24 hours per day.
What's happening here at Iflot is one that is beyond the imagination so quickly because of the cane supply that we currently have in. Normally you would find yourself, yes, of course we have better weather, but more than that, we have farmers coming on board, partnering with us too. So the two together, definitely we can see the factory crushing for longer periods, recoveries will be better, and more than that, achieving our target more than ever. So I say at this point in time that we have good reason to expect better from us here on this location.
Iflot, like Albion and Blaymouth Estates, is currently preparing for out of crop. Thank you for spending time with us on this week's program of GuySuCo Roundup. A happy Independence Anniversary to all Guyanese. I'm your host, Curtis Ital. Goodbye.